All right, everyone. So today I wanted to talk about a valuable drop that you're going to get while playing your seasonal character that I think a lot of people are going to sleep on and not even realize how good they actually are when you turn them in. The thing is, you're going to want to make sure to turn them in for certain things in particular, and there's a lot of things that are complete bait that are really just going to be a major waste of this seasonal resource. And I'm also starting off here in Velia over by Fugar because that's going to be the NPC that you can actually exchange this item in particular. And what I'm talking about, of course, is the Seasonal Rift Thorn, which is for the summer season. I believe the last season they were like the Morning Frost Flower. So it's a little bit different this season, but either way, what you can do with these is when you get enough of them, you can go over to Fugar and turn them in for a whole bunch of different stuff. And I wanted to kind of go through the list here, talk about the ones that are really, really good, and then also talk about the ones that you absolutely want to avoid. And I also wanted to point out there's probably a couple of things here that you might not have thought were as good until I point them out, because there's a couple of things that I will actually pick on here that I think a lot of people probably don't think is the right choice. I know one in particular that a lot of people like really go for right away are those loot scrolls. I do think that's a good choice if you are somebody who uses a lot of loot scrolls and you always feel like you need more of them. It's definitely one of the better things on this list. But if you guys already feel like you have enough of those, because if you have a value pack, you get one every single day, and they've been giving out quite a bit of them as well. So like there's probably a good chance that a good amount of you already have a decent stockpile of those, and maybe you don't really necessarily need any more. So there's plenty of other things on this list here that are going to be a very good choice as well. So what you want to do is when you do turn these in, you're going to go to Fugar. And this NPC is located in many of the different major cities, so it doesn't have to be the one here in Velia, but you just go over to the exchange tab, and you'll see here's all the list of all the different stuff that you can actually end up getting from those Rift Thorns. So let's kind of go through here, and I want to start off, actually at the top of the list is going to be some of those things that I like to personally pick that are really, really good, and I want to point out one in particular here. It's actually not going to be this very first one. It's going to be the third one right there, and that is the Refined Magical Blackstone Bundle. Now, in order to get a good idea of why this one is actually a very strong pick, we have to kind of compare that one to the Time-Filled Bundle to kind of get a sense of like how many of these Refined Magical Blackstones you're going to get by turning in these Rift Thorns versus how many Time-Filled Blackstones you get. And when you realize the power of how good those Refined Magical Blackstones are, 30 of these are going to give you a guaranteed upgrade from a Duo to a Tri-Tuvala, 100%. Now think of it this way, in order to normally upgrade Tuvala from Duo to Tri, you're going to first of all have to upgrade it from Pri to Duo. That's probably going to take you at least a couple of attempts, so every click is going to be a minimum of 10 time-filled Blackstones, and then when you get it to Duo, you have to then get it to Tri, which is going to take you an average of another few attempts, and every one of those Duos is going to downgrade back down to Pri, so you have to redo that part, and overall, at the end of the day, what it looks like is it's going to cost you a couple hundred time-filled Blackstones on average in order to go just up to Tri. So 30 of these is going to give you a guaranteed Tri, and you can end up turning 20 of those Rift Thorns in for one of these Refined Magical Blackstone bundles, which is going to have anywhere between 10 to 30 with an average of about 20 of them. So not quite enough to get a guaranteed Duo to Tri, but you've got about 2/3 of the required number of these Refined Magical Blackstones to go from Duo to Tri from 20 of these Rift Thorns. So just keep that in mind, and as we go over to this first one here, which is that Time-Filled Blackstone bundle, we'll get a sense of how many of these we can get for the exact same amount of Rift Thorns. So this one costs 10 Rift Thorns. The Refined Bundle costs 20. So this one, we can essentially get 2 of these for the same cost as one of those Refined Magical Blackstone bundles. So if we take a look at one of these, for 10 Rift Thorns, it's going to give us 30 to 50 of the Time-Filled Blackstones, so it's going to give us an average of about 40. Now, because we can buy 2 of these for the same cost as one of those Refined Magical bundles, we're going to be looking at an average of about 80 or so of the Time-Filled Blackstones that we can end up getting for the exact same cost in Rift Thorns as we would get those 20 Refined Magical Blackstones. So it's about a 4-to-1 ratio. You can get about 4 Time-Filled Blackstones for every 1 Refined Magical Blackstone, and because it takes 30 of these Refined Magical Blackstones in order to go guaranteed from Duo to Tri, basically we can get the equivalent of about 120 Time-Filled Blackstones for the same price as what it would take to get us the guaranteed stones to go from Duo to Tri. So hopefully you were able to keep up. I know that might have been a little bit much there. Case in point, the important thing to really take away from that is it really makes these Refined Magical Blackstones honestly superior to the Time-Filled Stones if you are trying to still get your gear up to try, but also for fail stacking. Now, this is a little bit more advanced, but basically later on, maybe once you've already finished off your Tuvala gear, now if you're still trying to get Tet and Pen and you really need more of the time-filled stones, it's definitely not a bad pick at all. It's still going to be one of the best things on this list here to turn in those Rift Thorns. But later on, if you're trying to build fail stacks, failing that do it to try Tuvala is a great way to build up some fail stacks, and it's going to be much more efficient in terms of looking at it from that standpoint to actually use your Rift Thorns to buy these refined magical bundles than it is going to be to buy the time-filled stones and have to spend way more of those to basically get the same fail stack levels. So either way though, you know, I'm really breaking down like super efficiency here. They're both good purchases for sure. I think they are both absolutely worth it. The one that I haven't really talked about, notice how I've really not talked much about this middle one here, which is the Tuvala Ore Bundle. And out of those three, that's really the one that I would avoid. Honestly, you're just going to get so many of these throughout the season. It might not feel like it right now early on if you guys are still just a few hours into your character and you feel like you need a ton of these for your accessories. You're going to need them to repair your gear when you enhance it. But this is going to be an excess material. You're going to have more of these, and you're always going to feel like you need more of the time-filled stones and more of these refined magical stones, but you know, because you just get so many of them, this is one of the ones that I would avoid. So moving along the list here, now we're gonna get to some of the ones that I would just straight up avoid. Hate to say it, but a lot of these things here coming up are not going to be that great and just gonna kind of be a waste of the Rift Thorns compared to buying some of the other stuff that I talked about. So like that high quality drop box, you know, honestly, you're gonna get a lot of these from events too. You can always buy these on the market. It's just not really that important. Now, this Valk's Cry right here, I could see about this might be a little bit of a bait here if you're, you know, really new. But the thing is, you're paying 10 Rift Thorns for one Valk's Cry. 10 Rift Thorns can get you a whole one of these bundles there with 40 time-filled Blackstones. And even if you look at it from, like, you know, these refined magical Blackstones, you're paying a lot of silver for that one Valk's Cry. Like, you're paying 4, 5, 6+ million silver in value that you're giving up for that. And a Valk's Cry are worth about 3 million silver or so, approximately. So you're just paying too much for it if you really need them and it's an emergency. But honestly, there's just going to be better stuff on this list to pick from. So next up is the premium elixir box. You know, it's just, there's going to be so much other stuff here. There's going to be plenty. There's so many other ways to get these elixirs, and it's just not really a high priority. Okay, now we get into another really big bait one here. We've got our first fail stack, and there's two other fail stacks that you can actually pick from this list. This is the worst one of the three. A 20 fail stack is not really that valuable. And paying 20 Rift Thorns for a 20 fail stack is a very, very steep price. So I generally just don't recommend this. You're going to get so many other fail stacks through the season, and these ones are generally not too difficult to come by. So given the value of these Rift Thorns, this is definitely one that I would recommend skipping out on. Now we have the two scrolls. I already talked about the loot scroll. This is not a bad one, of course. Like, if you need loot scrolls, I think this is one of the better things to pick from. I don't think it's the only thing or the only must-get pick, but if you are always, you know, trying to get more loot scrolls, then this is a great way to do so. The experience scroll, I generally don't recommend experience scrolls, even though this might be something that newer players might feel like is really good, because after you get to level 61, and I know that might still be a ways away for you if you are, you know, still newer to the season, newer to the game. Once you get to level 61, like, experience, the value of it really drops off. That's not the real grind in this game. The real goal is going to be a progression through equipment, and in a sense, it's almost going to be progression through getting more silver, because that's what you're going to use to get more equipment. So, you know, the emphasis on levels really drops off a massive cliff after level 61, and you're going to get there sooner rather than later anyway. So, you know, there's just so much other stuff, so many other valuable ways to essentially work on your account progression rather than wasting the Rift Thorns on these experience scrolls. I don't think it's the worst pick, though. There's plenty of stuff that's worse, like those, you know, elixir bundles and the 20 stack, but it's definitely not at the top of the list at all. So now we have the last two things, which are those two final fail stacks, the 40 stack for 100 Rift Thorns and the 50 stack for 150. Now, I will say that one of these, it's the second one. The 50 stack for 150 Rift Thorns is probably the third best option. It's not the absolute top of the list, but it's definitely acceptable. Like, if you're not going to go with the loot scrolls, if you're not going to go with the refined magical stones or the time-filled stones, I think this is probably the next best choice. I do not think it is a terrible price that you pay for a 50 stack. Now, I will say, though, that the 40 stack, if you look at it, 100 Rift Thorns for a 40 and 150 for a 50. Now, the way that the value of fail stacks work, and I do a lot of enhancing, I can tell you this coming from lots of enhancing experience, it's a 50% increase in price for the 40 stack to 50 stack, which is close. I'd say it's pretty reasonable, but the 50 stack is still going to be worth a little bit more than 50% of the value from 40 to 50. So you get a little bit more, I guess you could say, like bang for your buck or value for your Rift Thorns, getting that 50 stack compared to the 40, because, you know, once you get to like 30 to 40, those levels start to become very valuable and very hard to get. And even though it might not seem like it, like only 10 levels, but you're paying 50% more, that's just how Failstack values work. So if you're going to pick between one of those two, this one is definitely the way to go, and I would absolutely skip out on the 40s. But the 20s are the worst of those three. Stay away from that one for sure, for sure. So anyway, I wanted to go through this because a lot of people are probably going to go through here, not really realize what the best things are, maybe waste these Rift Thorns, and you actually get quite a few of them later on from some of those higher level grind spots. If you guys don't notice that you're getting a ton of these right away, they feel like they ramp up in drop rate as you get to those higher level spots. And in addition to all those time-filled stones and other resources that you're getting from seasons, because you get these and they really go up in numbers later on, you can actually end up adding quite a bit of additional resources like time-filled stones or refined magical black stones per hour of farming that you do, just by keeping in mind all the extra stuff that you can end up getting by turning in your Rift Thorn. So don't sleep on these. Try to get the best stuff that you can. But remember, I will end off the video. This is a perfect video to end off with this note here, that at the end of the day, remember, the most important thing is to have fun, enjoy the game. And if that means picking some of the stuff that maybe I said was not the best choice in this video, if that's what's ultimately going to bring you enjoyment in the game, then that is totally okay. And that's going to be the real winner right there. So with that being said, I'm going to end it off here. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for all the support on the channel. I really, really do appreciate it, everyone. It has been absolutely insane over the last week or so. You guys have been awesome. Tons of new subs, tons of people enjoying the videos. If you did enjoy it and you want to help out, tossing a quick like on the video, a thumbs up, it means more than you can imagine. So thank you to those of you guys who do that. Of course, if you're interested in more videos, consider subbing so that you get a notification from YouTube. You might have to turn alerts on for that. I don't know exactly how it works, but I think you get the idea there. You might know it a little bit better than even I do. And keep an eye out on the Twitch live stream, twitch.tv/salt. Live streams, usually 4, 5, 6 days a week. Lots of enhancing there, but that's going to be it for now. Take care, everyone. Have a good one, and until next time.